Trapped by the belief that I'm not good enough, bound by the limitations and the lies that consumed my world, this was me. It wasn't until I took the biggest leap in my life to know and trust the power within. And it was at that moment I made a choice. My past will not define me anymore. Hello, I am Teri, and I know I am not alone in this. Over the years, I have found that the number one mistake that we make is that we get in the way of our own success story. Yes, I said it. On this show, together we'll tackle limiting beliefs, self-sabotage, getting stuck, fear, doubt, overwhelm, and the imposter syndrome. Join us on this journey designed to transport you beyond your limitations to a world where anything is possible. This is Talking with Teri. Hi, and welcome back to Talking with Teri, where we have powerful conversations to transform your life and your business. I'm super excited out of my own curiosity with our guest today. We have Dr. Alka Patel, also known as the Age-Reversing Alka-Myst, and she's building the world's most impactful strategic self-care revolution. Hello, baby, that sounds sexy. For ambitious business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, celebrities to unleash their phenomenal potential to achieve soaring success while reversing aging through lifestyle optimization. Oh my gosh, girls, let's like dive in, because we were just talking about this offline, how I'm needing whatever you're giving. So give us a little backstory. How did you get from where you're at, from there to here? And yeah, fill us in on all the juiciness.
Oh, wow. Do you know, backstories are really tricky, aren't they? Because you think, is there one moment in time that got me here? And there never is, Teri. It's like life is an experience. It's all experiential, isn't it?
Yes.
But I'm thinking, how far back do I go? And I'm actually transporting myself back to 2011, where
Okay.
you definitely wouldn't find me here. You'd find me in a pretty average consulting room. So I'm a GP in the UK. So we have 10, 15-minute consultations with our patients. And there I am in my consulting room, 2012, ordinary day. But it's not that great a day because I'm really not feeling great, feeling hot and ill and not myself, and realize that I've spiked a fever. But you know what the pressures are like, particularly in the health service. You can imagine it's relentless. And I couldn't get myself home that day. I had to carry on with work. You just push through, don't you? And you've got to get things done. You just push through. Women particularly, we just push on through, right? So I pushed through the day, eventually went flat in my bed. And I didn't know then that the next time I would be back in my bed at home would be 4 weeks. And the next time I'd be back in that consulting room would be 4 months. Because the fever that hit, I ended up in hospital with an admission. And they didn't know what it was, called it a pyrexia of unknown origin, which kind of means you're hot, but we don't know what it is.
We haven't figured you out.
Haven't quite figured it out. But you know what? I got pumped with pills. I got cut open. And
wow, this is not just an average fever.
Exactly. And this is not, this is way pre-COVID, before we were even thinking about, what fevers meant and what they could result in. I mean, this was, spiking a fever of 40, got cut open, was in hospital. A few days later was my birthday. And my children came to see me, and I can still feel it, their little hands on my cheeks. And what I was thinking was, you're so loved, you're going to be fine without me. Because I felt like I'd reached the end of the line. I just didn't have the energy to kind of be alive, and everything was shutting down, my kidneys, my liver, all of it. But of course I got through. And what I recall is all the advice that I got given. Everyone's throwing advice at you. Eat this and sleep more and go exercise and get back your energy. And there's so much confusing information and health messages. And all at the same time, my doctors are going, take these pills 3 times a day, everything will be fine. And 4 months later, I'm still not able to kind of get back into being that amazing doctor and that amazing parent and that incredible wife and daughter, and all of it, all these standards that we set for ourselves. And I think it took that moment for me to kind of realize that something needed to be different, not just for me, because I needed to get back on my feet so I could go back and serve my patients. But what was I doing for my patients? Because I have to say, I'm going to raise my hand here and say, I'd become that drug pusher doctor, which was, a pill for every ill. You're feeling depressed, here's your antidepressants. You've got high blood pressure, here's your high blood pressure tablets. Because the system's so broken, right? but I recognized that that's not what was working for me, and it certainly wasn't what was working for my patients. And I wanted to at that point stay alive and live a long life. Why do we want to live a long time? Because there's amazing things we want to do on this planet, and how do you give yourself that best opportunity to do that? So that was a really kind of pivotal moment for me, that fear of not being here.
So how has that transformed the way you look at medicine now?
Oh, totally differently. So my premise is now lifestyle first. In fact, that's what my business name is, because it's how do we position what's important, and lifestyle has to come first. But when you talk about lifestyle, what are you actually talking about? What does it actually mean to really take charge of your health? I went on and did this TEDx talk as well, Teri, which is all about health as a verb, not a noun. And it's very much about you hold your health, right? Health. You've got to really own it and take ownership of it, and not just expect to be in great health without doing the actions that go along with it. So that's really kind of where I'm at now, is position your lifestyle first. And if you think about it, thinking about every process that goes on, when we get sick and we give it a label that says diabetes or high blood pressure or heart disease, it's come from what we've done, the choices that we've made. And I'm not saying this from a kind of blame angle at all, because making choices is difficult, but there's always that moment that we have, right?
I love it. And it goes back to the choices that we're making, right? And there's some research out there that says we make 30,000 choices a day. And so if you think about it, like, am I going to get up? Am I going to sleep in? Am I going to eat this? Am I going to eat that? Am I going to do this? Am I going to, exercise? Am I not going to, like, we're making choices all that time. We probably make 1,000 choices just to get out the door in the mornings. Right.
But it's miraculous if you think about it.
Yeah.
It's just like we can also automate some of this, right? And so that we free up some of our brain for all that high level stuff. Why don't we automate our habits? Because all of this sort of the neuroplasticity and the repetitive stuff that we do, creating habits it's an absolute core part of what I teach as well. Because once you can automate parts of your life that are unique to you and make sense for you and work for you, then you're free to be creative, to show up in the world in the way that you want to.
I know a lot of physicians. I was telling you offline that I used to own, or still do own a large counseling practice. And so our number one referral source is physicians, OBGYNs, family doctors. And so you are the very first physician who has actually even talked about habits and habit formation. I'm so excited for this conversation, because I think the system that we have known in the healthcare system, as you said, is broken, and we have to relook at that in a new way. I just had this conversation last night. Actually, I was on this panel, and one of the ladies afterwards was talking to me, and she's a nutritionist. And I said, there's a great, it's old. I forget his first name. His last name is Wallace, Dr. Wallace, and he wrote a documentary on, it says Dead Doctors Don't Lie. It's really a fascinating. Have you seen it, heard it?
No.
It's really fascinating, and you can catch it out on YouTube or wherever. Yeah. But it's called Dead Doctors Don't Lie. And he went back and he basically went through, and physicians, actually their life expectancy is significantly less than the average males or females that live on this planet. And I want to say it's like 20 years difference.
And that makes total sense. I mean, as you're saying it, I can, totally understand why. I think things are shifting, but there's a lot of reasons that contribute to that. If you imagine, most doctors are sitting down like all day long in their consulting rooms, and that sitting takes away years from your life. There's a recent research paper that says if you stand more than you sit, and that magic number is don't sit for more than 3.5 hours in a day, you automatically add 2 years to your life. Right. And that might not feel like it's huge, but like when you're there, you're going to want those 2 years.
That's a really yummy nugget. So standing more, ladies. Okay.
Yes. Stand up. Just ask yourself, can I do this standing up? That phone call that you're making.
Are you standing up right now? Because it looks like you're standing up. You are. I love it. She's on my podcast. I'm sitting down. You know what? I'm going to join you. Okay. I'm going to join you because this is because my setup is set up to where I can. This is a high top. Look at that. Awesome. Look how easy that is. I'm going to move this chair.
I love it.
We're going to do it. We're going to take action now. Right.
That's amazing, because we've just extended your life on this show.
Look at that, ladies. All right, here we are. Teri's going to live a day longer. Thank you.
2 years, 2 years, Teri, two more years of Teri that we
Look,
have.
look at this. And I actually, for my other meetings, it's just, which I didn't know this, my other meetings I do stand up for.
Right. Okay.
And
I've got another challenge for you, Teri.
Okay, let's do it.
After scanning.
I'm not doing push-ups right now. I'm not doing
push-ups. No one will even see. Can you stand on one leg? Like literally just balance on one leg.
Okay, yeah.
That's it, great.
Yeah.
So if you can balance on one leg for more than 10 seconds, you're twice as likely to be alive in the next 13 years than you are if you can't. How's that? Are we there?
Oh my gosh, we're dropping like, yeah. Okay. So
that the more, the message here is the more we do this is like stuff that takes 1 minute. The biggest reason I always hear for people not taking care of themselves is I don't have time. But like we're standing here on one leg. We don't need time. Take a minute.
Yeah. Okay. Now I just switched because I want to shake it up here. So I feel like what do you call it? The pink bird. What is that called? The flamingo. I'm flamingoing. This is called the flamingo technique. Like, hello, ladies.
I love it. Pink flamingo.
Dr. Patel's flamingo. Now introducing. But this is really great, and I'm right there with you because I was a therapist for years. Then I started getting introduced to energy psychology and then into quantum physics and all this energy. And I just absolutely love it. And I'm the exact same way because everything that I teach is 2 minutes or less. And most of them are under 30 seconds. And so there's no more excuses of like, I don't have time because, and even that, like the notion that we have no time is actually The Magic of Thinking Big, and it's by Dr. David Schwartz. He debunks the time and it makes, and he's like, even if, he basically, when he does the math, he says, we have 48 hours in addition that has not been taken up. But what happens is we fill it with social media, we fill it with TV, we fill it with inactivity kinds of things. And he's like, when we start to debunk that, and I always joke that I was like, he's a guy, so maybe he got it wrong. So take off another, 10 hours or whatever. That still leaves us with, this amount of time. And so, what are we doing with our time? So I love it. Absolutely. This is fantastic.
Yeah. No, and thinking about that, like you say, it's 1,440 minutes in a day, and we've each got the same amount, but we have a choice to what we do with those. And one of my biggest things, I mean, I'm just on the number bandwagon now, is I believe that everyone can also not just make the most of their 1,440 minutes in a day, but live a 1 million hour life.
I love it. I love it. Okay. So obviously this has brought you up to where you're at today. And, so now, and I'm interested on the anti-aging piece because we know you're targeting, the AAAs, the entrepreneurs, the business owners, which we know from research, it's a higher stress place, right? Because oftentimes we're juggling multiple hats and multiple things going on. And so what are some strategies, nuggets for the anti-aging process when it comes to that element of it?
Okay, great. That's a really, really good question. I think it's around having a strategy that makes it fun and makes it easy. And what I love to bring in to really satisfy all those things, if you think about it, as you say, busy entrepreneurs, business owners, time and money is of the essence. It's what's going to be easy for me to do and what is absolutely going to be effective so that I'm not guessing. And how do I fit this into my day? And the way that you do it, I don't know if you can just maybe look at me and see what I'm kind of wearing and flashing.
Oh, what are you flashing at me?
I'm flashing my jewelry at you.
Oh, okay.
So the reason I'm doing that, Teri, is because it's about data, right? Or you have access to personal biodata. So this bracelet on my wrist is measuring my blood pressure, right? And so I know, like you say, am I at that point of stress? Do I need to do something about it? Monitor, track yourself. This is telling me how well I'm sleeping. So am I recharged and revitalized? If not, I'm going to have to stop that midnight scroll. I'm going to have to stop sending that report out or that client proposal out at night time. I'm going to need to do something about it. This sugar monitor, right? Where we need sugar, or not we need sugar, we need fuel. But we're getting it from the wrong sources. For those that are joining us via
just the podcast, so she has a little sugar monitor device on her back of her arm, and then she's showing me jewelry on her hands and her wrist too. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm loving this. Okay, so then that just kind of computes down into onto the computer system, right?
Oh, 100%. And you know what the beauty is that numbers give you a nudge. So there's this effect, I don't know if you've come across it, which is called the Hawthorne effect. Right. So the Hawthorne effect. So what's the Hawthorne effect? So the Hawthorne effect is the effect that being watched has on you. Because what we know is that if you're being watched, your behavior changes, your actions change. But you don't need someone else to watch you. You can watch yourself by capturing data on yourself and then using that to give you a nudge. So coming to aging specifically, because it's a really important topic, because ultimately that's most likely to be the science now is pointing to aging being the underlying, I don't want to call it a disease process, but the underlying process for everything else. Reversing aging is now possible.
Okay.
And the way that you do that is, first of all, to know the right number, because the number that we associate with aging is your chronological age, right? The number on your passport, on your birth certificate. And that's largely irrelevant because it's not giving you your internal age. It's not telling you about your cellular level aging. And there's this massive difference between getting older, which is every year I get older, right? The sun goes around, the earth goes around the sun, and that's the way it works. Just double checking. And we're going to get older, right?
It's true in your country as it is in our country.
That's the way it works. But so that's going to happen. You're never going to be able to stop that passage of time, right? But your internal clock is very different. Aging is a physiological process. It's got nothing to do with that degree of time. And so you can reverse your internal clock by some of the things that we've talked about already, right? How you move, how you sleep, how you eat, how you connect. All these things actually change your physiological clock. And now you can measure it. So I measure biological age in all of my clients. And then we get that number, and I can guarantee you, especially amongst the women, Teri, especially amongst the women, you get that number, you want to do something about it. There is no way I'm having a number that's higher than my chronological age. You're like pumped and ready to reverse it, because that's what we all want, because that sense of youngness, it's not about being anti-aging, but it's like this feeling of vitality, right? Clarity. That's what we want.
Yeah. My old office manager, she was 70 years old. She looked 50 and she acted 40. And it was so funny. One day I was walking in, it was her 70th birthday. And I was walking into the kitchen, and it was so funny because one of the other therapists asked her, she's like, happy birthday, how old are you? And her response was just perfect, because she goes, don't you know you're never supposed to ask a lady her age? And she goes, but because you asked, I'm 50. And she goes, oh my gosh, you look so great for being 50. And I had to leave the room because I was like, oh my, but psychologically, she looked it. I mean, she looked stunning from the outside in. I mean, she was just a beautiful being. And I just was like, but her attitude on life was so different. It was just this playful energy. And it was interesting because I could rally her, because I'm a, if there was a fun song come on in the waiting area, I was like, let's have a dance party. Right. And I could rally her and everyone else, even my millennials, would look at us like we have lost our minds, and we'd be out there just me and her doing a little dance, and look about us like we've lost our minds, But I think there's also the mental piece of it that it also drives us, because I'm like, I feel like I'm 20, Now you'll hook me up to the scan, and you'll be like, Teri, actually.
Well, I would love to know your biological age, because mine is actually 20.
Oh, fantastic.
So we need to do it. But it's again, when you try and attach some of the science to this as well, because we love a bit of science, don't we? We get the feeling, but we want to attach the science, and we know that optimists live longer. You do. If you're more optimistic, if you're more positive, you do live longer. There's a huge mind-body connection. There's a huge brain-gut connection now. We're learning more and more about things like your gut microbiome and all these kind of microbes that are living within you, taking up kind of much more genetic space than your own genes. And they're working for you. So long as you fuel them with what they need, they're going to give you that uplift. They're going to activate your anti-aging genes. There's a lot of genetics involved in that, but we're in control. It's not that I have this gene or don't have this gene. You get to choose what you turn on. So something like, for example, eating within a much narrower window than you're used to. So we're used to just, I can eat any time of day and have morning breakfast and eat when I'm in bed, and on we go. And kind of, we don't give ourselves the opportunity to have this more kind of feast and famine approach to life, which is what then increases our survival potential.
Wow. I love this.
Yeah.
And so you're a big component of the fasting model, then I take it.
Yeah, to the point of sort of just letting it become a lifestyle, as opposed
Yeah.
to I'm fasting. It's just like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not, I mean, you got to tune in. Am I feeling
It goes
hungry
back
right
to the
now?
habits, right? It goes back
Yeah,
to the habit creation,
exactly.
right? And
Yeah.
this is a habit that it's like, okay, this is what I'm eating
Yeah.
based on my, and that changes my understanding. And I was looking into it, the intermittent fasting, like I was looking into different things fairly recently. And it seems like based on your body, there's a lot of factors that determine. It's not just like, hey, your age this, it should be this, right? So it sounds like there's a lot more factors that go into it.
Yeah. And the important thing is it comes to stress, and we all go, oh my God, stress, I don't want to be stressed. Or it's like, I'm not stressed, I get on with my day. But it's the stressors that are actually beneficial for us. It's that Goldilocks effect, not too much, not too little, just the right amount. And so the fasting approach is a stressor on your body, but in a very positive way. But sometimes you overdo it, it actually starts to have the reverse effect, which is why I come back to data. You've got to kind of measure and map. You've got to test and track. And then you're not guessing. You're not going to the gym, hitting it hard 5 times a week, which you think is doing great. But often, more is not better. Less is more.
Yeah, I love this. Okay, so as we're wrapping up here, what are some final thoughts, tips, techniques that our audience can, I mean, you've already given some great ones here. Anything else that you would recommend for people, to, tap back into to start this process of reversing our internal and external biological clocks?
Oh gosh, I think I've thrown lots at you
Yeah.
already. I think if you're going to do one thing, is what I would say is don't sacrifice sleep. Amongst business owners, entrepreneurs, it's the first thing that goes, right?
Yeah, as a therapist, that's the thing that the people would always ask me. They're like, "What's the one thing?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, if you tie all the mental health and all the I'm like, I don't know. I guess sleep would be it, right? Like sleep would be it.
Yeah,
And
100%.
so,
And it's in your control. You decide whether you're scrolling on your phone, or you decide whether you're just going to slow down your breathing and let your breath work. Your breathing controls your mood. Your mood affects your sleep. Your sleep affects how energized you are in the morning. How energized you are affects how well connected you are to your family, what clarity you have, how well your business does. It's all connected. Start there. And also, but most people think sleep starts at night. Sleep doesn't start at night. It starts first thing in the morning. So get out in the morning light, right? Even if it's 60 seconds, you have to let the light hit the back of your retina so that you get your reset between your cortisol and your melatonin, which we could talk about forever, but we don't have time. But that's really you've got to get out into the morning light. So if you do anything, put out your sleep, put your head out the window, look at the sun, 60 seconds.
Oh my gosh, I love this. I love this. This is I've never heard that before. I absolutely love that. Okay. So, and the reason for that, it just helps to reset the chemicals.
Yeah. There's almost kind of cortisol and melatonin. Melatonin is your kind of put me to sleep, and cortisol is wake me up, and they offset each other, but they need to get the signals from each other.
But it doesn't work for just like lights.
Oh, we think this is bright light. This is nothing. This is like a 10th, even on a cloudy day, you get much more lights outside.
Okay. That's a great tip. I love that. That's gold mine. Like right there, like put your head out. Do the flamingo and then put your head out. I mean, I think you can have like a TikTok dance or something. Like, like I think we can make something work here. Okay.
Oh, love it. Love it.
Oh my gosh. Well, this has been most delightful. How can people reach out to you, connect with you? Now, I know that you're based out of London, but can people from the US reach out and connect with you as well? Do you guys have programs?
Oh no, 100%. Yeah, look, everything that I do, whether it's testing or devices or connecting or courses, it's, we're a very connected world. So absolutely, I have clients all over the US as well. Best way, well, on my website actually, which is dralkapatel.com, dralkapatel.com. There's a little lifestyle assessment. So really to see, back to lifestyle first, how well are you positioning your lifestyle? It's called the LQ, so a little bit like your EQ and your IQ. So that's a really great way to just get started with, where do I start? Is it sleeping, eating, moving, connecting? And then of course my socials as well. So anyone very welcome to message me. It's Dr. Alka Patel UK on all of the platforms as well. So very connect.
Well, we'll put all that information into the chat, and I would actually love to invite you back and have you come and be a part of our Talking with Teri TV. So we can talk offline about that. But thank you so much for being really just a change agent and what you're creating, and being really a mover and shaker on, and getting in front of rebuilding the system of healthcare. And I think that's such what a gift to this planet, what a gift to this world that you are. So thank you so much for being here, and thanks for bringing in all your wisdom today to our audience. And we will be in touch.
For sure. Oh, thank you, Teri. That was lovely. You made it fun.
Thank you. I am so grateful that you joined me for this episode. If you've enjoyed this, then there's just one thing that I would like you to do. Click to subscribe and leave me a rating and review. As my way to thank you, let's connect for a free consultation. Just reach out to me at talkingwithteri, that's TERI.com, to book your time.